Welcome to another episode of Rainbow Popcorn. We are 2 out of 3 brothers reviewing queer movies. Hello, Brett.
Hello, Lee.
How are you?
I am insert pretentious word for good here.
Yeah. It's a pretentious movie, but it doesn't insist upon itself. No, I don't think it does.
The movie insists upon itself. I think the characters insist upon themselves.
Oliver and Elio from Call Me By Your Name do insist upon themselves
Insist upon themselves.
before they insist upon each other.
Or a peach.
And then insist upon themselves as each other. Because it is Call Me By Your Name.
Ooh.
Which I had to Google whether there was meaning behind that. But we will get to that.
Well, I'm surprised it didn't just spell out the meaning of it in the movie, but we'll get to that as well.
We'll get to that too.
I have a new drink.
Cheers. What do you got?
It's a
little can.
It's a little can. It's Pals. Pineapple, lime, and soda vodka. It's the yellow one. Real ingredients, real taste.
This one...
It's gluten-free and vegan-friendly.
This one doesn't have a story.
No, but it's got a funky little picture of girls playing golf on the next to it.
I don't want to stereotype.
And it's better with Pals.
Ah.
There you go. Let's see if this is actually
What
better
about
with Pals.
Brothers. Well, you haven't had one without a pal, though.
But I've recorded an episode without a pal, so is the episode going to be better with a Pals?
Oh, okay, yes.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, that's quite nice.
It's complex. Because the can is just yellow, I expected lemon.
Well, there's lemon in there, isn't it? Oh, it's pineapple and lime. That's nice. Not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad, Pals.
Speaking of pals, these guys were not pals at the start of the
weren't.
movie.
They weren't, and they were by the end of it.
They certainly were. It's a very good movie. We have reviewed it
well
before
made.
for Two Drink Cinema. And it is a very good movie that was well received. And fuck me, can Timothée Chalamet act?
He's pretty good at that, isn't he?
I think he needs to do something like this again.
What, like a sequel?
No, but like I don't think there should be a sequel. We might discuss that later. But I think he needs to do something just proper, seriously acting
Like
again.
Like I don't know, like a biopic about Bob Dylan.
No, because that's a biopic.
Oh, you
right?
want arty
and
something?
Dune is a sci-fi fantasy extravaganza.
Yeah, okay.
Don't Look Up is
Shit.
silly.
Yeah. He needs to go back to his roots.
He needs to something that he can really sink his teeth into because he is a very good actor, even at the age of 21 as he was then. Mm-hmm. He doesn't need to do a Wonka. Like, fair enough, breadth.
Fair enough, money.
But he is a very, very good actor and should be doing movies that require very, very good actors so that, as much as I like him, the serious actor roles should be going to Timothée Chalamet. The blockbuster sci-fi fantasy epics should be going to Tom Holland.
Tom Holland could be a good actor.
He is a good actor. I'm going to say that Timothée Chalamet is a better actor.
From what I have seen, yes. But we haven't seen the full breadth of Tom Holland like we have with Timothée Chalamet.
I still think full breadth, once they all get through their full breadth, and I will see Tom Holland in Christopher Nolan's Odyssey. And then I will be Timothée Chalamet's a better actor.
Great. I'm not disagreeing. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
No, I know that's fine. And that's the point of having two people on a podcast. Because if it was just me talking about how good Timothée Chalamet is, boring.
Right? Because everybody does that. A lot of people agreed that he's a good actor for this movie, including pretty much every single person that gives out an award.
Yeah.
He wasn't quite good enough to win any of them, but he...
Who beat him for the Oscar?
Gary Oldman
For
when he
the
was Churchill.
Churchill one.
So,
Yeah.
historical biopic, and he had a lot of makeup on.
And he's Gary Oldman,
And he's Gary Oldman.
who is a very good actor.
Yeah. who is also better than Tom Holland. So
He is better than
I don't
Tom
know where to
Holland.
start.
But Gary Oldman couldn't play Spider-Man.
I reckon give it a crack.
He would. What else did it win?
It
Slash
won-
nominated for?
So Oscars wise, it won for adapted screenplay,
Based on a novel.
and then it was nominated for Best Original Song, Best Actor, and Best Picture.
Oh, original song.
Yeah, it's one of those. They're gay in the mountains.
Now you're thinking of Brokeback Mountain?
Well, they were gay in the mountains.
Yeah, that's true.
They got the bus to the mountains.
and then
whatever
ran
that
through
was.
the mountains being
Woohoo,
gay, calling each other
gay.
the other name.
Yeah, here's my T-shirt.
Oh, yeah.
It won also Best Adapted Screenplay at the BAFTAs and the Critics' Choice Awards.
Yep.
And then it was also nominated for Best Actor, Best Director, and Best Film at the BAFTAs.
It is well directed, except there's a couple of moments.
Yeah. And the Critics' Choice Awards, it was also nominated for Best Actor, 2 Supporting Actors, Best Cinematography, Best Picture, Best Director, Best Original Song.
Because the dad is a very good actor.
He is also better than Tom Holland. I'm not going to keep bagging Tom Holland. He's
as
very
much
good
as
actor.
Gary Oldman would give it a go, he would not do
Michael
a good Spider-Man.
Stahlberg, I don't think
Michael
he could play
Stahlberg would not be a great Spider-Man.
Armie Hammer couldn't do it either. Maybe because he's not getting any jobs anymore.
Yeah, it's hard to play
We're not gonna
Spider-Man
go.
when you're cancelled.
We're not going to go down that path. We're just going to pretend like it's before all that happened and people still liked Armie Hammer.
He is a good actor in this movie.
He's
Timothy
all right.
Chalamet is a better actor in this movie.
Yep.
But it is probably clear that Armie Hammer is cast because the requirements were to be 6'3", good-looking and blonde.
And American.
And Armie Hammer ticks those boxes and can play Arrogante
Yep.
very well,
Yep.
whether or not he is saying later.
Uh-huh.
But the arrogance of both of them
Yeah.
is big.
Look, yeah. I didn't. There's bits where I was like, what's the point that this is trying to make somewhere in northern Italy?
I can try that. We've had in previous episodes that I've got a literature degree.
Yeah, we know.
Speaking of literature, we
Yeah.
should say the tagline before we go on. And for me, this is annoying because it is from one of the worst written moments of the film. And the tagline is it better to speak or die?
Yeah, look, I think that most people, given the options, would choose to live.
Yeah, but you're not 16th century French romantic poet. That's a
Fucking
that's
God, I'm not. Because
totally
if the
different.
option was to die, I was going to say kill myself. To die or to speak words, I will speak words.
Does it mean die or does it mean die having never said this?
I think it means die having never said this,
Yeah.
but also
It's not like you've got a deadline. Like you say I love you tonight or tomorrow
it's
you're
like
not going to wake
gun
up.
to your head, speak or die, and I'm like,
I'm going
mute.
to speak. No, I'm going to speak. But is it better to speak your love that is forbidden? Oh, could this be an allegory for the gayness going on?
Oh, maybe.
Oh, really? If you didn't work that out, you shouldn't be watching this movie. It is annoyingly allegorical and an annoying thing to choose. And it often happens in literature. And I think if that's woven amongst a 300-page novel, it's different to being a scene in a 2-hour movie.
yep.
But it is like, oh, I think I'm falling in love with this arrogant American guy who 15 minutes ago I hated. And
he's
then
a
my
slob.
mum decides to read a poem translated from German and her native language is Italian.
But she's French.
She's also French. And
That's what I mean. They're arrogante. They insist upon themselves.
then just so happens that this story that we just so happen to be up to in this book
Uh-huh.
is the story of my life right now.
She knows what's going on.
But the dad says she doesn't.
They know what's going on. Everybody around them knows what's going on except for them. Poor Marzia, She's just like, well, fuck this tall American guy. I'm not getting laid this summer. Then she does, and it was bad.
Yeah. I think the mother doesn't quite know what's going. Well, this is the thing. If the mother does know what's going on, then that reading makes sense because the
Yes.
mother wants to say that to the son. But it's 1980 something, and you can't just be, hey, if you're gay, it's okay.
They can be because they've got gay friends.
That's true. Sonny and Cher. But if she doesn't know what's going on, which I think at that point she doesn't know the extent of what's going on,
Yep.
that makes that scene bad for me.
Okay. I think, in my opinion, that she kind of is knowing what's happening. And then, because at some point the dad's like, you can talk to her. Oh, no, that's later on, after he comes back crying.
Yeah. The mum knows when he comes back. When he comes
Duh.
back crying, the mum knows. By the time Oliver is leaving
Yeah.
and the mum says, I think it would be good for them as friends
Yeah.
to go away for a little while,
Yep.
then she knows by then. But also, the dad doesn't seem to think the mum knows. Or is the dad, because at the end, the dad says the mum doesn't know. Is he saying that because he thinks Elio doesn't want the mum to know?
I think so, but the mum knows.
They all know. Like
They
you
all know.
said, Marzia knows.
They heard it.
Sonny and Cher knows.
They heard it that night.
Did we make noise?
Let's be honest. Like, they heard it.
It's interesting then as well that they don't just be like, hey, you want to do some things with guys? That's okay. They don't just say it.
Yep.
Because they do then have a conversation of, I almost fucked Marcia by the lake last night.
Which was odd.
Yeah.
Like, good morning. We almost had sex last night. That's how
Yeah.
the scene is just very like, we almost had sex last night, Marzia and me.
All I had to do was reach out and touch. She would have said yes.
Which I didn't like.
Well, and you don't
didn't
know
really
whether it's
like
like,
it.
is this a normal conversation that he has with his dad? Because his dad was okay with the conversation.
They're quite close, which was awkward.
But then is he having that conversation in front of Oliver to be like, hey, Oliver, I could have had sex and it wasn't with you.
Yeah. I've got options too, mate.
Yeah. I can
I don't
pretend
like
to be
them, I don't
straight as
think.
well as you can.
Yeah, although not as, no. Yeah.
It's, yes, interesting.
But they're definitely like toying with each other. Is that the
They
right-
are. I wrote in my notes, Elio from the very start is like, what the fuck is with this guy?
Yeah.
Like he just comes and like falls asleep on the bed. He's like, oh, I'm going to skip dinner.
And then he like hoovers 2 eggs. Oh, is that
Yeah.
his breakfast is 1 egg?
Yeah.
He's 6'4", and his breakfast is 1 egg.
Well,
no.
even the Elio, he's 17.
Yeah.
No 17-year-old is just going 1 egg. Yeah, that's enough for
He
breakfast.
needs some eggs.
Even as skinny as he is, yeah. He needs some eggs. But he is weirdly a little bit crass and uncouth.
Yep.
In amongst this, like speaks 4 languages, reads the classics, is digging up out of the ocean an old statue.
Yeah.
But then Oliver as well knows the actual origin of the word for apricot.
Yep.
So, and then he's going to be a doctor,
Yeah.
but he's doing this philosophical shit.
I don't know.
What's he going to be a doctor of? Touching 17-year-olds.
Proctology? I don't know.
It's interesting, and there it does. Yeah, Ellie at the start is what the fuck's with this guy, but then as it goes, I think as he starts to have feelings for Oliver, he starts to toy with Oliver a little bit more,
Yep.
and say little bits and pieces, and fuck around with him by playing that bark piece in all of the different styles, which is so insisting upon himself.
Is that is that how nerds flirt?
That's how nerds flirt.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm like, what is the point of this? And then I was like, oh, is it just trying to be like, you're not the only smart one here. I'm smart too. And hey, I'm not a kid. Is that what it was trying to do?
That's exactly what it's trying to do.
Okay.
Because up until then, Oliver has had the upper hand in being like the older and more mature and more intelligent, even in his own view, of the two of them. But
Yep.
as I think Elio starts to think that Oliver might be interested, it's when Elio realizes he can toy with Oliver a bit and he can be a bit like, I'm smart.
Yep.
Look how well I play the guitar.
You should see me play the piano.
And then look how well I play the piano. And he's just like, you've written this drivel, because it's just after he reads these sentences to him.
Yeah.
And he's like, does that even make sense? And he's like, it's not the worst thing you've written. And then he shows then how smart he is musically. Oliver also can't speak Italian.
Nope.
And Elio can, as well as French. And I'm assuming German.
I'm assuming there's German in there.
Like, why wouldn't you?
The mum would have made him speak German.
Because the mum can read German, because she translates the German live to
Into
read
English.
him the poem.
Yeah.
Which in her mind, because this is how multilingual people work,
Yeah.
polyglots they're called. She would have read it in German and then got automatically translated it to French and then had to translate it to English.
Oh, of course.
So that's quite a skill.
While
While their 17-year-old son is lying with his head in his father's lap.
you know what didn't help me with the first part of this movie is that I was watching it on Prime.
Yep.
This is a note for you, Amazon
Yeah.
Prime, Elon, if you're listening.
I think I'm going to say the same thing.
I didn't
Bezos.
realize until whichever rich white guy, whatever. I didn't realize until after the awkward volleyball scene that there were no subtitles.
Well,
No, I was like, am I meant to have subtitles here? And then I was like, oh, let me put subtitles on. So I put like English UK subtitles
Yep.
on. And I was like, okay, great. Now there's subtitles. And then it just at one point came up in brackets, speaks Italian. I'm
Yeah.
like, what?
so my TV has started doing this thing. We're on Prime and Stan and Binge. It doesn't do it on Netflix or Disney. It will automatically have subtitles.
Yeah.
So I started the movie with subtitles.
Right.
Fine, because the first couple of
Bracket,
things...
classical music plays.
No, because the first couple of things, it's him and Marcia speaking French or Italian to each other. I keep forgetting which one.
Uh-huh.
At the very start. But then the subtitles were on when they were speaking English to each other. I'm like, oh, well, this is the wrong kind of subtitles.
Yeah.
I don't want subtitles for everything. I just want subtitles when they're speaking the foreigners. So I turned the subtitles from English to English CC, but that kept it on for all the English, but then in brackets,
Yeah.
speaking Italian.
So I had
So
to
then I
put
turned
it
them
on.
off,
Yeah.
but then when they spoke Italian, it didn't have
Nothing.
any subtitles. So I had to have subtitles for every English word.
That's how it worked for me.
Yeah, annoying.
I find
Jeff,
subtitles
fix it.
distracting. Because then I'm reading. Even when it's in English, I'm reading.
Yeah. I also had my gardener around at the time. So he was chainsawing things in the backyard. So
Right.
I had to have subtitles on occasionally.
Picking your peach trees.
But I think, Jeff, if you're listening, that they got to fix that.
They do.
For the amount of money that we're paying for Amazon Prime a month, because we both definitely have our own accounts.
We do have our own accounts and there's ads.
Then we need...
Then I had to pay for the movie.
Oh, yeah. You need to fix that.
Anyway.
Anyway, that's because I can't speak 3 languages like Elio.
I can grab context clues,
Yeah.
but cacose, I don't know. Mangiare americano, I know that means let's go American.
Yes.
So I can get that bit.
Andiamo means let's go.
Oh.
Mangiare means tomorrow.
Oh, no, mangiare
or
means
food.
eat.
Eat. Yep.
Sorry to my Italian friends that are listening.
He also did eat American.
Yeah,
The
he did.
and then so as much as there
Anyway.
is the cleverness
Yeah.
and they're both highly intelligent. And I'm going to say that Elio is more intelligent than Oliver, or more well-educated. So this is my point, though.
Yes. Yep.
More well-educated in things. Like
Yes.
he's read more books, he knows more languages, he plays more instruments. But what is one of the points of the movie is that he is not, as he says at the fountain, he doesn't know things.
I think that what I noticed more in this viewing is like, oh yes, they're very intelligent, but they don't know what to do with their feelings.
Well, because
they just read books and then write music on from one page to another, and play music, and then swim in a very small pool
or in the river
and fuck a peach, but they don't know what to do with their feelings.
Well, for Oliver, and this is, I think, one of the things that makes this a good story, and it's a little subtextual. Oliver's thing is that he can't deal with those feelings because he is in a world, he exists back in America in a world where he shouldn't be gay.
And the kid's 17.
And the kid is 17, so can't deal with his feelings.
Yeah.
So that is two interesting looks of can't deal with being the gays.
Mm-hmm.
Because even though his parents are clearly okay with the gays, because they have gay friends,
Yeah.
it is that thing of, oh, these feelings are different to what everybody else is, and these feelings are not the mum and dad like my mum and dad are things.
Yep.
And so, yeah, there's those two sides of the feelings, but then there's also maybe for Oliver, he's not actually gay, he's just in love with Elio / Oliver.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, love is love, not necessarily a label thing. Maybe he's pansexual.
I think maybe for Oliver, by the end of it at least, well, then it seemed to be a bit more of just a summer fling.
Yes, and there's that in there as well. Is it just like, for Oliver, is this going to be a more than thing? And he does end up engaged. But for Elio, is he going to be able to live with this just being a summer fling?
Yeah.
Which then brings Dad's speech in at the end, which, let's be honest, that's what got him the nomination for the award, saying, don't feel nothing at the expense of feeling anything.
Yeah.
While you are young, you're going to have all of these feelings, feel all of these feelings.
Yeah.
And then deal with them.
Yeah, that's the clip you're giving to the Academy.
Cry into the fireplace, which is the clip you're giving the Academy.
Well, I think it's interesting. It's like, yeah, Timothée Chalamet is really good throughout the movie, but then Luca Guadagnino, probably butchering that, goes, Tim, I've got an idea for the end credits. We're going to have the credits to the side of you just crying for the whole length of the credits.
Yep.
You're just going to cry into the fireplace. He's like, yeah, okay, I can do that. And then they're like, okay, Academy, do you think?
Yeah. I think it's not just crying, though. If you watch it,
Yeah.
it's
like not just sad crying.
He's crying sad, he's crying happy, he's crying nostalgic, even though it's probably only a year later. And
Well, not even.
Oh, not even a year later.
Because that's like 6 months.
When they were talking summer versus winter, he's like, oh, we only come here for Christmas and some holidays. I'm like, oh, yeah, they're there for Christmas because it's summer, because they're on a different continent. No, that's a hemisphere.
That's a hemisphere.
Not a continent thing.
Yeah.
So they're there for the summer and then they go back there for Hanukkah and Christmas. And yeah, it is a sad crying. It is a happy crying. It is a nostalgic crying. It is this has been a good experience and I am ready to move on now crying as well.
Yep.
He does all of those emotions in one fireplace.
Uh-huh.
And that together with, there is a moment, and I write it in my notes and I'm just going to find it. Yeah, where he's talking to his mother and his mother says, I think he likes you too, Oliver, more than you do. And
more than he likes himself? Is that what that meant?
No, I think
more than you like Oliver.
More
Oliver
than you
likes
like
you
yourself.
More. Okay, yeah.
Because Elio, it's a bit of a thing with Elio that he talks himself down, and his mum and dad both tell him off for him, and Oliver tells him off for it.
Yeah.
And so the mother says, I think he likes you too, Oliver, more than you do, more than you like yourself. And then there's a flash of worry that goes across Elio's face, and then a flash of, oh, my mum loves me. Then it's, oh, Oliver has feelings for me. And then he says, is that your impression?
Yeah.
Which is then the insecure teen confirming all of those feelings that he's just felt.
Yep.
And if you missed all of that from Timothée Chalamet in that scene, Academy, and you regret not giving him the award, go back and rewatch it.
It was always going to be Gary Oldman.
Yeah.
It's a movie playing Winston Churchill, and he's got makeup on. Like, he's going to win.
Oh, and World War II movie.
Exactly.
Yep. Okay.
There was no war in this. They didn't even know where this was.
Yeah.
Except it was like random Italian town with they referenced a war, but that was just a statue. Speaking of statues.
A fountain?
Fountain.
Or a statue
no,
with
it's a statue.
water around
It's like a monument.
Wasn't there water?
But there could have been water.
And they walked around it. And then he's like, I wish I hadn't said that to you.
And then let's go and ride a bike.
To the spring. That is mine.
And then they, in another thing of explaining the plot of the movie through clues that are not subtle, hey, let's look at these sensual statues we found in the water.
I wrote the line down.
I wrote, not a straight body in them.
Not a straight body in them. But also, he says, where did I write it? Oh, I can't find it.
I don't know. Gonna say it again. Nope. Not that one.
No, not that bit. It's, there's not a straight body among them. And he also says almost...
As if they're daring you to desire them.
As if they're daring you to desire them.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, at that point, how Oliver feels about Elio. Mm-hmm. Because I don't think he, other than one scene, I'm pretty sure he never wears underwear in the whole thing.
I don't think Armie Hammer wears underwear.
I don't think either of them do.
I think that I saw like some video or something where they had to reshoot a lot of things because there was like nuttage.
I think there's a couple of scenes where Elio gets up and quickly hikes up his shorts.
Yeah.
And that makes me feel like there were a few takes, because Elio wears his shorts so low. Yeah. There are a few takes where Luke is like, Tim, we got to do that again. We saw ass crack.
Yeah, yeah.
And so then, because he is young, he's 21. He's just in that habit of flicking his shorts up every time that he stands up. So Elio is almost daring Oliver to desire him, which is a bit of a 17-year-old thing, doesn't know how to approach this, so just is kind of awkwardly a little bit flaunting, flirty, until he just grabs his dick.
Yep.
Through his shorts.
Am I offending you?
Am I offending you? We haven't done anything to be ashamed of, is a key line for Oliver in that scene, because that's like, gay sex is shameful.
Yep.
Which is his not being able to deal with his desire storyline.
My favourite line in the movie is when they're talking about Sonny and Cher. And he's like, don't make fun of them, blah, blah, blah. And then the dad says, is it because they're gay or because they're ridiculous? That's my favourite line.
And then he doesn't want to wear the shirt. And he's like, I can't put it
like
on
a
now.
put-up job.
It's going to look like a put-up job.
It's not a bad shirt for the 80s.
It also didn't look too big for him.
No, and then he did this weird little slidey dance thing that he loves.
He loves that little slidey dance.
I didn't really get it.
Is it an 80s dance?
I don't know. Maybe he does that when he gets laid, because it was after he...
No, but he did it earlier. He did it before he almost had sex with Marzia.
Yeah.
At the drinking in the courtyard.
Yeah.
But he did it, like he went over to the dance floor and he did the thing that people do where they dance with someone else very near the person they actually want to dance with.
Yes.
But then he was just like, actually, I'm going to do my little slidey bit. And so just took 3 steps away from everyone to the camera.
Slid back in.
Did his little
shoulder shimmy.
Shoulder shimmy.
And then slid in.
And then went back.
Yep.
And it is a cool little move, Timothy.
Yeah.
I want you to put that in Dune Part 3.
Yeah. He does that on the worm. That's how he rides the worm. Oh, God.
It's a very intelligent movie.
The other thing that was a bit like on the nose, I can't remember which scene it was. And I think it's just when it's the day of I'll see you at midnight and he's just like waiting. And in the background
his
at
watch
one
all
point,
day.
yeah, they're playing a song called Words Don't Come Easy. I'm like,
Yeah.
great, words don't, but Elio does. So,
And then there's... Yeah, he does, actually. And then he's apologising to Marcia.
Yeah.
And Marcia says it's okay. Really, it's not.
she's like,
Because before that, she's like, does that feel good? And she's like, no. And then he comes like half a stroke later. And then he's like, sorry. And she's like, it's okay. Like, it's
and
not
then he
okay.
rolls over and he's like, wow, that felt good.
Yeah. I'm going to go and have sex with the man now instead.
Yeah.
And he does come in the peach pretty quickly too.
Okay, the peach.
Okay, we're going to the peach scene.
Yeah.
It is well known, if you've looked it up, that both Luca and Timothy tried it
Yes.
before they filmed it because they both wanted to know if it was possible.
But is it necessary? Like, did we need...
Is it necessary? Sorry, I should not be bringing up Dodgeball in a review about Call Me By Your Name.
Did we need a scene in the movie where he fucks a peach and then is ashamed by it and then Armie Hammer, I'll say Oliver, goes to eat it?
Okay, can I put my literature hat on?
Oh, you haven't been wearing it this whole episode?
Well, I just took it off to quote Rip Torn from Dodgeball. I didn't do
Is
the
it
full
necessary for me to drink my own urine? Sorry.
Is it necessary for me
No.
to eat a peach?
But it's sterile and I like the taste. Anyway, back to peach fucking.
It's in because one of the things that Elio has to deal with is his burgeoning sexuality.
Uh-huh.
To quote Peter Brady, his libido is increasing at an alarming rate.
Okay.
And we reviewed the Brady Bunch movie a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
If you missed that episode, he has to deal with his burgeoning sexuality and the fact that just kissing Marcia makes him hard, just putting it in makes him come. He's having all of these thoughts about Oliver, as well as almost being caught jerking himself off at the start of the movie.
Uh-huh.
And that is a representation. That's where my literature degree is coming in. That's a representation of him being so horny that he'll do just about anything to get off.
Okay.
Just happens to be they have an orchard and they have been drinking peach juice or apricot juice all week.
Yep.
And so that is like I'm so horny. I've got to get the pit out of this. This feels all right. Almost American Pie.
I don't like it, and I don't think it needs to be in there. Yes, I get it's trying to make that point, but I think we know that already.
A scene to make that point has to be in there, and then the follow-up to Oliver being into it, but then not eating it because he realizes how it makes Elio feel also needs to be in there.
No.
What would you do instead? Have him have sex with a warm apple pie?
Just not have it in there.
But there needs to be something
in there. I don't think so.
It's kind of a key thing of Elio's character.
No.
Is to be ashamed of his arousal and then for Oliver to console him in that.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Is it just weird?
I don't think it added to the movie.
Having sex with fruit just weirds you out?
It's not a normal thing.
Are you kink shaming right now?
Yes.
Sorry to all of our fruitophiles.
Fruities.
Our fruitophiles out there.
Fairies and fruities and...
Yeah. We also shouldn't be calling our queer listeners fruities.
That's all right.
I thought we were done with that term. Yeah.
Yeah.
It.
I get it, but no.
I still want to read the book.
Sure.
I don't think I'll get to because I just bought
to.
3 more books yesterday that I haven't read.
I don't need to, but because it's a movie. Maybe I'll buy it for when we go to Bali I need a book.
Okay, well, maybe I'll buy it and take it on my trip. And then when you meet me in Bali, I will maybe have read it by then.
And I'll read it while eating a peach.
You can get a little peach
teeny.
The Call Me By Your Name.
Yep.
The Elio / Oliver.
The Olio.
Oliver.
Oliver.
Can we talk about the name?
Which
Call Me
one?
By Your
Call Me
Name.
By Your Name.
And the idea that calling you by somebody else's name is a thing.
Is romantic.
I didn't put my literature degree hat on for this. I looked it up. But if I'd put the effort in,
Yeah.
I would have probably come to this myself anyway. It's meant to, or it's been interpreted as, showing their connection as they feel so close to each other that they can interchange names.
Yep.
And that be symbolic of their shared interests and desires.
Okay. I don't... Yep. Sure.
It then becomes to the
That's your
phone
kink?
of like...
Great.
Elio, on the phone. Oliver. Elio. But also running through the mountains, being gay, calling each other by each other's names.
Yep.
I think that's unnecessary.
I don't...
It's probably necessary because it's the name of the book and the name of the movie.
Yeah, but you could have named it anything else.
But I think the author could have taken that out, unless in the book, again, like the on-the-nose 16th century French romance, in the book it's deeper.
It probably is.
And it's an identity thing, a little bit deeper. And, a bit of like, we're the same, you and I, struggling with this sexuality and identity thing.
Yep.
So we can call each other's names.
We're interchangeable.
They're not. I reckon Armie Hammer weighs 3 times what Timothée Chalamet weighs in this movie. He's so skinny.
Poor little Timothée Chalamet.
Poor little Tim. He's now dating a Jenner.
And not even the best one.
Interesting choice for Timothée Chalamet, such a talented, well-educated actor to date a Jenner. I'm not saying all the Jenners are dumb.
She's a billionaire.
That's true.
So I'm not saying that's her only redeeming quality, but that's the one that stands out to me.
She's also hot.
Sure.
And I'm not saying all the Jenners are dumb, but I did see a reel recently of Kylie Jenner, that's the mum, Kris Jenner.
Kris Jenner's the mum.
Talking Courtney through how to return her trolley in a car park.
So when would they ever have done it?
Really? Like, you have to encourage, and it's like, yay, Courtney, you did it.
You're doing great, sweetie.
Yep, that's what it is. I feel like Timothée Chalamet knows how to return his own trolley.
I think he could work it out.
Can I show you another reel that you should find, speaking of somebody that's out of touch and doesn't understand the ordinary person?
Okay.
We don't want to talk too much about this person on the podcast. Is it
politics?
But there's a clip going around from The Daily Show of clips of Donald Trump not knowing what groceries are.
Okay.
And if you find it, if you follow The Daily Show on Reels or on TikTok, you will have seen it. But there's clips of him being like, yeah, groceries are all of the items that are grocery. And then he's like, groceries, yeah, it pretty much consists of all of the things that you eat.
Great.
So if you can find that clip,
God.
it's quite entertaining to know that the leader of the free world doesn't know what groceries are.
Do you reckon he eats peaches?
Not like Armie Hammer does.
Ooh.
Not many people eat like Armie Hammer.
Oh,
Allegedly.
Allegedly. How long's the episode been going for? We avoided it all this time, but he's back in the spotlight.
Yeah.
Armie Hammer's trying to make a comeback.
Can we also talk about, speaking of trying to make a comeback, the scene where Armie wipes himself clean?
Yeah.
Okay.
That reminded me of a blooper from Parks and Rec. Have you seen that one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great blooper.
Kim Kardashian.
Another Kardashian.
Think come back? I'm pretty sure she got cum in her back. Fucking hilarious. Go. Okay, go.
My mate, after a number of years, has just decided to start playing baseball again. And he messaged me and he's like, it's going to be the greatest comeback since Kim Kardashian. We've mentioned 4 Jenner Kardashians, in the one episode.
Oh, and not even Kendall. There you go.
Kendall.
Sorry, and Chloe. There you go.
And we have previously reviewed a movie that starred Caitlyn.
Yes.
So we have covered all of them.
Except Rob
And
Kardashian.
North.
There you go.
West.
Just can't wait. Anyway.
Oh, we've definitely talked about Northwest.
So you're gonna say about cum?
Please. We have talked about this issue the MPAA has in the past, and we talked about it with I'm a Cheerleader, because also Cortex talked about it when she did But I'm a Cheerleader for Pride Movie Night.
Yep.
You basically see him eat Marcia out.
Yep.
Then, as soon as Armie Hammer goes to take his shorts off, it's pan to the window. And it's not even pan to the window and then we come back the next day.
No, it's because it's like 30 seconds later.
Pan to the window. We know that Elio comes quickly. So they come back. Then pan to the window for round 2.
Yeah.
And then we return and he's wiping himself clean. So we can be okay with basically male-female oral sex, almost okay.
Yep.
But any sexual contact between 2 men, not okay. But wiping yourself clean with the result of sexual activity,
yeah, fine,
is okay by the MPAA.
But that's just if you know you know.
Oh, just some people,
they wouldn't know what he's doing.
Impressionable
He's just
people
sweaty.
Might think it's just apricot juice.
It's just apricot juice and sweat.
Yeah, okay.
But I also found it interesting that this movie is rated M. I thought it might have been an MA15 plus.
There is tobacco depictions.
There is much tobacco depicting. Sexual references, nudity, sex scenes, high impact sex scenes.
Yeah, high impact.
Adult references.
Man on man.
Yeah. Vomit.
Yeah, vomit. Drunkenness. Teen drunkenness. Teen smoking.
Yeah.
Disney wouldn't have made it.
Nah.
It always gets me that the gay is high impact sex scene.
Yeah, it is.
Even though, let's Armie Hammer on Timothée Chalamet is a little bit more impact than Timothée Chalamet on Marcia. But it's just sex.
Yeah, deal with it. You're watching a gay movie.
Yeah.
If you don't want to see it, don't watch it.
Exactly.
Maybe they just made it more palatable for the Academy.
For the straights.
Ugh.
One line I didn't get was Armie Hammer says to him, are you going to, what we did last night, are you going to hold it against me?
Like Britney Spears?
Well, I thought it was like, did he mean like, are you going to hate me because of what we did? But that doesn't make sense. But then I think blackmail.
I think he's freaking out a bit.
Is he going to tell his dad
being a bit irrational
that his teaching, learning assistant, whatever position it is, fucked his son?
Well, do they do that every year?
Well, the one from last year was not good looking.
I don't know. I didn't get that. I think he's just like internally freaking out.
The one this year is a woman.
Ooh, so that's not going to happen.
No.
Who knows?
Could happen for Marcia.
I think he's just freaking out. And he goes, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that.
I think it's a little bit blackmail-y.
Yeah.
Is more the holding against me.
Yeah, he's scared that he's going to tell someone and it'll bite him in the ass. No pun intended.
The dad calls it a friendship, even though it's very clear that it's been sexually.
Yep.
How do we feel about that?
And they know because Maid does the washing.
Yeah, true.
She knows what's happened in that room where you have to enter the other room by the bedroom. But then there's another door.
No, the bedroom that is Elio's bedroom that becomes Oliver's bedroom has a door to the hallway and a door to the bathroom, and the bathroom has a door to the hallway. But the room that Elio moves into,
Yeah.
you can only get to through the bathroom.
But then there's another one. Oh, did he go through the bathroom?
Yeah, he went through the bathroom.
But there's another door. There was like, when he was like, oh, they're not talking to each other, they went in separate doors.
That was downstairs.
No, that was upstairs. And then he goes, take off your trunks. Let's just check that's still working. And then he goes back. They went in different doors. I also, and then
Through
confused,
the bathroom.
Oh, whatever.
So the bedroom
I'm also
is...
then confused by the fact that this house is enormous. This property is enormous. And the only bedroom they can give the guest is the one the son's already using and conjoins via a bathroom.
Yeah, it's part of that, I think, is the trope in romance that necessitates proximity.
Whatever.
I'm going to isolate that sentence because that's a very clever sounding sentence that will make
it
me
upon yourself.
sound like I'm reviewing an intelligent movie by
God.
Call Me By Your Name. I'm not going to isolate my Rip Torn impression.
I think you should. That's more...
It's more on brand.
On
for
brand,
us.
yes. Necessary.
The dad's speech at the end, I've already said it, is
It's
very
very good.
good.
Yep.
Michael Stahlberg is very good. I think he should get more roles.
He was in something else I watched.
Dope Sick.
Nope.
He's in Dope Sick.
I haven't watched that.
He's in quite a
something
few
else,
things.
and he was very good in that too.
And he
looked
but
quite different.
he does say in the speech, I don't think I love your mother as much as you love Oliver.
That's quite depressing.
Yeah.
But I think she knows that. She's a smart woman, that German-speaking French-Italian.
He says, but then, that's the thing about love, is that your greatest love may not be the one you end up with.
No.
Because sometimes you just got to marry like your number 3
Yeah.
and have a kid
Yeah.
and then hope that your number 3 inherits a ridiculous property
Yeah.
that you can spend half of the year in.
Yeah.
They're very rich.
Apparently so.
They have staff.
They have one staff.
They have a gardener, that guy that fixes the bike.
Oh, that's right. I thought he was just like a guy that was around.
Could be.
He came with the house.
Yeah, well...
He probably did, actually.
Yeah, they inherited that as well.
Anyway, very good movie, very artsy, bit up itself, but it's a nice story.
I don't think it as a movie insists upon itself too much. The weakest scene for me, the one where he's having the dream and he just like flips the negatives over, that's not great.
Yeah, yeah.
But then also there's the one where he's sitting sad on the steps outside the house, and then there's just like a colour goes over him occasionally throughout the song.
Yeah.
That was a bit like, are you in the late 90s?
It was, yeah.
Like, are you making an indie movie in the late 90s? Because that's what they were like.
Yeah, that's true.
I
Yeah, I didn't get that.
But some directorial stuff is very good. There are a couple of times where the two leads have intimate moments, but the shot is far away.
Yeah.
Which I liked as a storytelling
good
device.
director.
He's a very good director. At some point, cast a gay to play a gay. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah. He hasn't done that yet, has he?
No.
Yeah. He just teases us with the ones we want to see.
He just gets the straights that people want to see nude and puts them in a...
Is he doing that new Swift Horses one that might have already come out? With Jacob Elordi and that other one?
Oh, I think
Is
so.
that him?
Yeah, I think so.
No, he did
is,
Queer
actually.
and he did Challenges. Yep.
Yeah.
Maybe he's doing that. No, it's not him, I don't think.
Do you want me to look it up?
I mean, it probably could be.
Could be.
He's getting a bit of a niche for himself. Luca Guadagnino.
Swift Horses. And it would be very much in Luca Guadagnino's realm to cast Jacob Elordi.
100%.
Muriel and her husband Lee begin a new life together after he returns home from the Korean War. However, their newfound
Directed
stability gets upended by the arrival of Lee's charismatic brother, a wayward gambler with a secret past.
Oh.
Directed by Daniel Minahan.
Oh, I don't know who that is. There you go.
Yes, it is not Luca
not
Guadagnino.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. But Luca Guadagnino has directed Queer,
Yeah.
which is his most recent release.
Yeah.
But he's also done filmography.
Challenges. He did this.
After the Hunt is his next one.
Don't know what that is.
Bones and All, which had Chalamet in it,
Yeah,
which
that
came
was
out the year
cannibalism.
that all of Armie Hammer's issues came out.
Yep.
Suspiria, Call Me By Your Name, and then before that, A Bigger Splash, I Am Love, Melissa P, and
Great.
The Protagonists.
Great. I'm not going to watch any of them.
He's also made some documentaries.
Who hasn't?
Salvatore, Shoemaker of Dreams,
Oh.
and a short film called The Meat Seller. Not seller where you keep meat, a person who sells
person who
meat.
sells meat.
A seller of meats. Which,
Okay.
again, not the room under the house.
A butcher.
But a butcher is the one that prepares the animal / meat and prepares the meat for sale. Somebody else might.
Okay.
It's like a fisherman and a fishmonger.
So it's a meatmonger.
But sometimes the fisherman sells their fish and the butcher sells their meat.
Okay, great.
Yeah?
So there's not a word for it because usually the butcher... Anyway, we're not going to go into that.
Sometimes people say meat sellers, obviously, enough that Luca Guadagnino made a film about it.
Great. That's... whatever.
Great movie, great script, great acting by Timothée Chalamet. He'd done bits and pieces before this one, but this was like, fuck, this kid can act.
Yep.
And means that he's been in 1 to 2 movies every year since.
It is 1 to 5 movies every year since. I don't know why I said it like that. It had in cultural impacts. It launched Timothée Chalamet.
Yes.
And it also made the peach emoji mean butt.
And it also launched bigger Luca Guadagnino.
Yeah, and it could have, for a moment in time, launched Armie Hammer bigger, but then that didn't quite work out.
It did not quite
Through
work
no
out for
fault
him.
of anybody else's, except, I don't know,
His
we're
own,
not going to go into
allegedly.
it. We're not going to go into it.
Even though we have mentioned it.
Allegedly.
What would you say if I asked you for a one-line review of Call Me By Your Name?
I would say a good movie with great acting, but it's just a bit up itself sometimes.
I would say everything about this movie is good. It's not super rewatchable, though.
Yes, that's good. That's a good line.
That's it.
But is it better to speak or die? Get fucked.
I think it's better to speak than have never to have spoken at all.
Okay, Shakespeare. God.
That could be a Shakespeare line.
It could.
So is it better to speak or die? But it's not. It's from a German,
That is the question.
French, Italian, translated into English.
Yep. Yep.
Is that it?
Great. That is all.
Okay. Thanks for listening to another episode of Rainbow Popcorn. Like and subscribe on the YouTube. Subscribe on the podcast. Rate and review. Follow us on the socials at Rainbow Popcorn Pod.
Yes.
And we'll be back next week to chat about some other film and TV stuff. Cool. If there's anything you'd like us to chat about, get in touch with us on the socials. Or I think you can get in touch with us through the website.
Sure, why not? Give it a go, everyone.
It's 2025. Do it through the socials.
Yeah, just DMs it.
Slide into the DMs.
As the kids say.
Slide
shoulder
into the
shimmy
DMs.
into the DMs.
Thanks, Brett.
Later.